Hey everyone, my name is Paula, and my story is real simple. We got in a predicament back in 17 where we were surrounded by floodwaters and couldn't get out. And so the stores were getting low on food. I was lucky that we had just did a big grocery shopping trip and we never lost power. We just couldn't leave town. So we couldn't, go to another county or city or whatever to get food or grocery shop, so we were lucky. Others were not so lucky. So that got me to thinking, okay, we need to have a better plan. And what I mean by that is putting food away. And what if we had lost power? We were lucky not to, but it could have happened. So we were real lucky, other than the fact that we were stuck at home for 10 days. And we were living in an apartment at the time, too, to boot. So, um, but that really got me thinking, okay, we need to come up with something. So I came up with canning, and I did a lot of research on it, and I noticed it's a very convenient way to preserve food as long as you have the room. In the beginning, I didn't really have a lot of room, but as time went on and we moved into a bigger place, of course I did. Um, so that's something you have to consider if you want to get into canning, whether it's just like some fun stuff like jams, desserts, or if you're wanting to do more like, how do you put it? I do some convenience foods, like I like to do soups and chilies and stuff, but most of the stuff that I can is ingredients. That being said, I do like to do some stuff like that. But so you have to think about that before you get involved. Um, I'm not gonna say it's cheap to get into canning, but it's it's not a depending on your budget, of course. It's not going to break the bank. And when you think about the long-term advantages of canning, think of it that way, I guess. I mean, roughly it was about $200 for me to get started. I didn't buy the high-end canner. I started off with a water bath canner, actually, and then I worked my way up to pressure canning because it was kind of scary, because you hear all these stories of people blowing their kitchens up. Um, I think those might be exaggerated a little bit, maybe in the beginning of pressure canning, but the pressure canners, the way they're designed, you would just have to go to bed and let it roll for hours for it really to blow up, because it's got pressure valves and relief valves and everything. So that being said, the canner I started with was $80. Well, it's more expensive now, of course. Anyway, that's for another channel. So my pressure canner was $80. I think the water bath canner at the time when I bought it in 17 was about $20. And then I just started off with a couple cases of jars, the ones that I knew for sure I was going to use. I think I started off with a couple cases of pints. I think I did a half pint and like a quart. And that's all that I started off with. Um, I have a lot more than that now. I have a whole room probably almost dedicated to just storing my jars. That's for also another video. And so you got to work your way up to it. And then, of course, the utensils that you need, which are going to be listed in this video and demonstrated how to use them and everything. So that being said, that's my story and how I got started and why I got started. I'd love to hear in the comment or read in the comments what your story is, and if this is still something after the video, seeing everything, is this still something that you want to do? Because I plan on having an actual canning video come out almost right behind this one, and that's going to be chicken and beef. So happy times, let's get started. What you're about to see is not pleasant. This is what happens. I don't really know what happens. Sometimes stuff just happens when you're canning and you don't know why. You think you did everything per instructions, and sometimes things just happen. So This is what canned beans are not supposed to look like. The liquids should still be in there. This is a very good example of what siphoning is, because that's something that does happen in canning sometimes. If the pressure's too high or it's too much liquid, because headspace is very important in canning, whether it's water bath or pressure canning.
Detective Gillespie prepares to interview Kevin Dixon. Or doing an interview with the suspect, the other one of them.
So something to think about after seeing this little video of the siphoning of the beans. Usually it's because the headspace, which is between the product and or liquid and the lid, is too small or not enough room. That being said, sometimes it just happened because I double checked the headspace before I set my timer, and it was 1 inch, and that's what I had it at, and it still did it. Because sometimes what I've noticed on the occasions when it's done this to me, it's maybe I let the pressure get too high. Like if it's at 10, which is what I have at my elevation, maybe I let it to get up to 12 or even 13 more than say a minute or two, and that could have caused it to happen. There was just too much going on in the pressure canner, and it caused the siphoning. Um, that would be the only reason. If the headspace is the proper headspace per the direction, that would be the only reason that maybe I wasn't as vigilant as I thought I was. It can happen to the best of us. So, that being said, if you have product that is siphoned, it still will seal, most likely, as long as it's over 50% of the liquid still in there, it will still seal. In most cases. Sometimes it just doesn't. Sometimes everything can be done right and it still just siphons out. But like I said, as long as there's at least 50% in there, you're good. That would be the only way it's safe, is if there's at least 50% in there. So, sorry guys, you didn't get to see a pretty batch of beans, but I'm going to make some more beans here before too long. I think I'm going to put in the comments below what kind of beans that you're interested in, because I was thinking about doing some black beans, because we like black beans, like to put on our nachos and stuff like that. So the main reason I do pinto beans is because I like to use that for my refried beans when we do Tex-Mex and everything. That's the only reason I can beans like that, is because it makes a really good refried bean. So anyway, put in the comments below what maybe kind of beans or that type of thing that you would like to see pressure canned, and I'd be happy to do that for you. When you can pick your jar up by the lid and it's a heavy quart of beef, chicken, or whatever, that's how you know the seal holds. If it comes loose, then you're probably going to get botulism. Whew, okay. My little dance moves didn't scare you off, nothing else will, so I guess it's safe. So, hi. So what we're doing today is I am just going to show you the basics on what you need to can. depending on your budget, of course. I didn't get all of this at one time. It took me a little while to get most of this. First of all, there are 3 basic types of canners. There's the Presto canner, which I have 2 of these. I have a 23 quart and a 16 quart. The only difference is, well, 7 quarts. But this is a dial gauge, and this is a weighted gauge. And what that means is there's going to be this little guy right here. Once you start having the steam come up, that'll be for another time. I'm just going through the basics. So this one is a weighted gauge, 16 quart. And this is pressure valve right here. When it's down, that means there's no pressure. When it's up like that, that means there is pressure. And what else you got is this little gasket right here. It comes out. When you're done canning, you wash it, and then just take some olive oil and put in the little crack right there, and then around the side. That keeps it supple and keeps it from dry rotting. So some people store their canner with this in, some store it without. I keep it in because I always oil it before I put it back anyway. So, and what else this comes with, if you look, and the dial gauge one has the exact same thing, the same rubber gasket. And what this has is a rack. You don't ever want to put any kind of jar, because if you look, you see it's kind of divoted right there. And there's a ridge. You never want to put that into a flat surface. That could cause chipping, outright breakage of the jar. It's not a good idea. So you always need something. Oh, there we go. So this goes in there like that. And for the taller canners, like this one, 16 quart you can't, but with the 23 quart, you can get 2 rows of food. So you set that down, you put your first row, see, your first row of jars in like that, then you place that on top, and then you put your next row of jars. Again, not this one, because it's too small, but on the taller ones like that, you can't. Alright, so that's pretty cut and dry. There is a certain way that you close it when you're ready to can. If you look, you'll see these little triangle thing. Well, the same thing is going to be on the lid. Probably hard to tell on camera, but once you, I'm going to show some images also, not just video. You line those up like so, supposedly, and twist it till it locks, and it's going to lock into place. Okay, and the same thing with that. The only difference is, like I said, this is a weighted gauge. Let me get this out. Hang on, y'all. Let me get my... Unless we move to Montana, I don't see me ever need these other weight, but as your elevation goes up, you have to add 5 pounds of pressure. So 10 pounds of pressure for up to 1,000 feet. So that's 5. This is another 5, so that's 10. If you're under 1,000 feet, that's all you'll ever need. If you need to go above that, then you add the other 5 pounds. And we'll get more into that. This is just the basics today. So anyway, so there's that. And with the gauge, for this one is the dial gauge. And I'm not going to put it together, but it's basic. It's just a nut and bolt kind of situation. This, I had to buy a new one. That's why it's out of the thing. I think from here on out, when I'm storing this one, I'm just going to store it in the little box it came from to keep it from getting damaged. Because the other one got damaged when it was in my storage building. My fault. Rookie mistake. But anyway, so this, it's got the little rivets. It just goes in there. And then you just tighten it up on this side. Okay, simple enough. And again, remember I said just the little gasket's the same thing. Same thing with this one as the other Presto. If this is down, there's no pressure. If there's pressure, that's going to be up. And with the dial gauge one, okay, say like this is sitting like so. We're pretending here, folks. So anyway, so once your pressure is up to where it needs to be, which will be 10 for me, because I'm under 1,000 feet, then you're going to place this over there. And that's going to keep, that's a pressure regulator, I think is the correct term. It'll be in the description. But not till after the pressure's built up. So once that, then you put it on there. So forth, so on. But yeah, I'm going to start keeping this in the little case, just a little FYI. My gauge got damaged, so I had to order another one. Which means I have to order another one because I have a prepper mentality. If you have one, you have none. If you have two, you have one. So I need to order another one for that to have for backup. All right. That's not going to go back on. Anyway, so these are really cheap on Amazon. I have all different sizes. I have an 8, a 10, and a 12. I think this is a 12. You also have, oh, no. You have these. I got this one at Walmart, and it'll fit like a smaller. See, it folds up like that. Like so. But then you put it together. It's like a little flower. And that goes at the bottom, and you can use that for your jars as well. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, right? Okay. So, let's get into the utensils a little bit more. So, funnel. I have 2 or 3 of these because, one is done. And I tend to lose things. Anyway, so if you want the stainless steel one, go for it. I've still been using this one. I want to bougie it up and get the stainless steel one eventually. It's on my to-do list. So you never want to use a regular funnel because when you're packing meat into these things, it's not going to fit. So you need something that, and this will fit on a regular or wide mouth, of course. So there's that. Got your jar grabber. It looks like tongs, but it's really not. So this is what you use to grab the jar out of the pot. Or put it in because you're going to have a lot of steam going on. You don't really want to burn your hands. Always wear oven mitts while you're doing it. Trust me, I know from experience. Anyway, so we're going to get on to the jars in a minute. So, accessories. These, of course. And this is a debubbler. And what that means is basically what it says. Your product is going to go in here, whatever that may be. Now, if it's broth, you don't need to do it. That's the exception. But anything else that has any kind of solids whatsoever of any substance, you need to do this. And you just go around the side, like so, or right there. And it just gets the bubbles out because the reason why you don't want any air pockets is, for one, it's not going to cook evenly. And 2, even if you hot pack, you still have to do this because air is the enemy. Because air creates botulism, which is a whole other thing that we'll talk about later in this video. But so you want to make sure you get all the air pockets out. Also, we're going to talk about headspace later, but you have to fill the jars to a certain headspace. So what that means is, here's the head of the jar, and it may be 1/4, 1/2, or 1 inch. Mostly water bath canning, like jams and stuff, it's going to be 1/4 inch, which is like this first ridge. Meat or anything low acid is going to be down here because you need room to keep it from siphoning. Now, any one type of debubbler is going to have, what does that say? I don't know. Anyway, any type of debubbler, it's going to have a little ruler on it. Like this one, I don't know if you can see it or not. I'll get a close-up of it later. I'll take a picture and then, but it has 1, 2, 4. I don't know why you need anything past an inch because I've never seen anything that you need 4 inches of headspace, but I'm sure that's for, oh, I know what it would be for. If you have a canner, like an American, All-American, you need 3 inches of water in that canner. So this is a good way, you already have it out for your debubbling. So that's a good way to double check that you have 3 inches, especially if you have it on the stove heating up. With these Presto canners, you don't do it by inches. It's 3 quarts of water in the bottom for the 16 or the 23 ounce. But anyway, so that's the debubbler. And then you got your little magnet lid picker upper. That's a professional term. And it's exactly what it says. It just grabs the lid and you place it on the jar. And you need to do that because by this time these are already sterile and you don't want to stick your hands, even with gloves, you don't want to stick your hands in the sterile water that you have these in. So there you go. There's that. Okay. This is not like in any rule book or whatever, but I keep one of these in my little canning kit. And that's just because, it'll fit in there and clean that out and everything. And any little crooks and crannies or whatever you can clean. I just like to have it in case I need it. The only thing I use it for is that little thing where the gauge goes. So this is a neat little thing to have. Again, it's not a regulation or anything like that that'll be in the ball book or whatever. But I'm going to try to find this on Amazon. I've had it 5 or 6 years. But if you guys want, I'll try to get the link to it. It's an awesome can opener, jar opener, bottle opener. It's really good because you're not supposed to save the lids, but some of them I do. And I don't necessarily use them to can again, but I will use them for like maybe food storage or something. So that being said, I don't want to bend the jar lid, and damage it. So I like this one because there's minimal damage. I hardly ever mess one up with this. So again, I'll try to put it in the link. All right, that brings me to some labels. These are dissolvable, but they're by ball. You can get them at Walmart or anywhere there's canning stuff. They just go on there. You write what you need to on there. Good to go. They'll come off in the dishwasher. Mine does. So no issues. And it doesn't clog up the little drain or anything either. So, this is not mandatory. I have it because I like to double check and make sure our food is safe. Botulism. It's a little back and forth about botulism on the pH, and we'll get into that later. But I like to have a little pH meter, the little sticks, where you can check the pH. And it's not necessarily for the end product as much as, it's not as much for the end product as to maybe determine whether you need a water bath cannon or pressure cannon. Because 6.5 on the pH is safe to consume. 6.5 and under. Anything over 7, it's not really a good idea. Because you're flirting with danger on that. But anyway, I like to keep a little kit like this. And it's good for other stuff too. I keep it in my little kitchen drawer right here with my little odds and ends drawer. It's just a good little thing to have. I don't mind having it on standby. So, let's talk about the jar lids first. So you have 2 basic sizes, regular and wide. And these come apart, obviously. Never store. Oh, that's another discussion. I may do that in another video, or maybe this one, but it's not time yet. Anyway, so you have your wide mouth and your regular mouth. So let's start off with quart size jars. I will get into the types of jars in the video later, but right now this is just, telling you what's out there. So you have your wide mouth and your regular mouth. You have, excuse me, your pints, wide mouth, regular mouth. These are the only two sizes that are actually interchangeable, if you will. And I don't think that's the right word. What I mean is the two sizes have wide and they have regular. So there's only going to be one width for regular, and it will fit a quart or to fit a pint, is what I mean. So apologies for not explaining that a little better. Okay, and same thing with the pint, yada yada. Here's my favorite jar. This is my favorite size jar, and why that is, and I sound kooky for saying this, is I make my own barbecue sauce and can it. This just seems like it's the best size because it's not quite a quart, but it's more than a pint. It's 24 ounces to be exact, because a quart is 32. 24. It's for a family of 3. It's the perfect size. So these are also hard to find now. I don't know why after 2020. I used to find these just like I do these other sauces, and I mean, you can only get them on Amazon, and they want like $40 for 6. So I scan I scan the marketplace on Facebook and everything for them. I love them. This is a good one. This is a 12 ounce, so half that size. It's a good jelly jar. Then you have your half pint, which is what most of everyone sees for jams, jellies, and such. And then you have these. My husband says that's just like 2 bites of jelly. But not everybody eats a lot of it, and they just want a little bit. Or maybe you're doing something like super hot, like peppers, like jalapenos. Easy peasy. I kind of screwed this up because I forgot to tell you about the other canner. So, pardon the out of order. But this is a water bath canner. Now, again, we're a family of 3, so I use this like if I'm doing up stuff during the holidays for like a bunch of people, but I use a smaller one, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. And this one is simple. It comes with a little wire rack basket thingy, and it has the little grooves where it tells you where to fill the water. Here's the thing with water bath cannons: you need the water an inch over the jars. This one, if you're doing not really pints, but if you're doing these 2 sizes, the half pint and the 4 ounce, you can double stack them while you're canning them. You can get like 30, 40 of them, depending. Yeah, I think 23 technically will fit of these, or maybe these, but anyway. So here's the big one like this. Now the one that I use, if I'm just using up some stuff, and it's just for three of us, of course. I have 2 different size stock pots. This is an 8 quart, and I have a 12 quart. And then I just use this little rubber thing in the bottom to set the jars on. And that's all. As long as it's an inch, it doesn't matter what it's technically used for. If it's got a good heavy bottom to it, then use it. I do. And then you can still fit a bunch of these little suckers in there and double stack them. Now you can't double stack the half pints, not in this one. You might be able to in 12 quart, but it's in the other room. So you can totally just use a really big stock pot if you already have it, instead of going out and buy one of those. But like I said, if you're doing like a bunch of water bath canning, then yeah, by all means use that. All right, now I'm back on track. Now this right here is the half gallon. I have seen videos where they can stuff in this. I'm not sure I want to try it. The most that I would do would be canning juice, like cranberry juice or something, because I wouldn't even know what the process time of this would be. I know there's videos out there if you want to look, but I don't think I'm gonna try it. No. Anyway, so this is a half gallon or 2 liters, however you want to say it. I mostly use this for dry storage. Uh, See right here, my rice. If you look, you can see the little oxygen absorber in there, and that's a form of dry canning. I'm going to get into that later. This is vacuum sealed, but they call it dry canning. But I mean, I guess it is. But anyway, this is vacuum sealed. It's for dry goods of that nature, like rice, beans, so forth. Anyway, that's what I love these for. These make great storage jars. I got a million of these in my pantry, my baking pantry, where, sugar or whatever. I don't buy fancy canisters for stuff. I use these. What else? I think that's it. Alexa, play Laffy Taffy.
Here's Laffy Taffy by D4L on Amazon Music.
Alexa, stop. Oh yeah, I know what else I was going to show you. So, the purpose of the wide mouth versus the regular mouth, it's kind of obvious. The more denser the product that you're canning, the easier it is to get out. Oh, I gotta take that thing off. Whoops. So like pickles, it's just easier to get the pickles out of the wide mouth jar like that. Same way with the chicken. This is grilled chicken right here. It's just easier to get the product out. Whereas this is my homemade pancake syrup. That's going to be a video too, stuff like that. How exciting is that, right? Any kind of liquids like this and like broth, anything liquid or that's easy, that's pourable without having to scoop it out. That's what the regular mouths are for. Alexa, continue.
I'm looking for Mr. Bubblegum. I'm Mr. Chico Stick. I wanna oh, cause you so big. Girls call me Jolly Rancher, oh, cause I say so hard.
So something to look for in botulism in your jars is if the jar is cracked or there's some kind of damage of any kind, even if it's just a scratch. Not good to keep. If the lid is not, if you can't pick the lid up like I showed you and it holds, then it's not good. If there's foam coming out from underneath the lid, definitely not good. That means air, that means botulism. So just keep that in mind. If something don't look right with the food that's in it, that when you canned it, discoloration or anything like that, get rid of it. Don't try to wash it out and sterilize it. No, don't do that. So what you do is you wrap it up in a plastic bag and you take it to the outside trash if possible. I wouldn't even leave it in the kitchen trash because you don't want to inhale that because it can kill you. Some signs to look for botulism is droopy eye, and I don't mean my Monday eyes like I have. I mean like you can barely keep your eyes open, blurred vision, slurred speech. You have trouble moving your eyes side to side even. If someone looks like they're having those issues and kind of like a stroke patient almost, yeah, I would go to the ER. Don't make an appointment. Don't go to urgent care. Go to ER. So it's a serious thing. That being said, if you follow the rules and use common sense, I know that's rare these days, but I have a feeling all of you have it. So use common sense with this. Don't chance it. Go to the ER if you have to. All right. Just a couple fun facts to throw out there. Canning by heat is a relatively new way of preserving food in the grand scheme of mankind. Um, the Egyptians did it 2, 3, 4, 6,000 years ago, whatever it may be. And there's been other ways of preserving. We're going to get into those too. Those are actually fun too. Uh, but in 1806, there was a French chef. Oh, what is his name? Let me look. I got my cheat sheet right here. That's not my cheat sheet. I'm looking. Yeah, so it's a French chef that I cannot pronounce his name. But when the Napoleonic War in France happened, he was trying to find a way to preserve food and it be portable for the soldiers. And that way it would last all summer, spring, whatever. Because in times before electricity, most people use winter as their refrigerator and later on ice houses. But before that, people didn't really eat meat during the summertime and the warmer weather unless they found ways to preserve it. So typically, meat was a thing of the cold weather times. So that being said, he needed a way to feed his soldiers and keep that army sustainable and keep them from starving to death. So he had the concept first in 1806 to do that. And it was a water bath canning method. And where we pressure can anywhere from an hour and 15 to an hour and 30 minutes, basically, for pressure canning now, water bathing back then, it could take 3 to 4 hours, depending on the product. So that was the original concept. And then later on, in 1858, is when in America that was established by John Mason. He was the one that patented it and created the mason jar. Now, when someone says a mason jar, that's the same thing as a canning jar, just probably just depends on who you talk to, right? So that being said, there are many brands, and I'm not really going to go over them. I'm just going to give you some facts real quick on that. Like, Ball Canning Company was established in the 1880s. There's not a specific date. They're out of Buffalo, New York. My husband will love that. Kerr Canning Company was out of Portland in 1904. Anchor Hawking was out of Lancaster, Ohio in 1937. Golden Harvest, I haven't really canned with their jars, but I hear they're pretty good. And they're not as expensive as the others either. They started in 1975. That's a good year. Then there's another one. It's out of Germany, Offingen, Germany. It's the Weck. I forget the man's first name, but it's Weck Company. They started in 1900 in Germany, and it's a different type of canning jar than what you see over here, where you see the basic, metal ring and lid. It's actually a glass jar, and it has a little rubber. Instead of the rubber sealant being on the metal lid, it's actually its own little part. And so you put the product in there, wipe the rim off, then you put the gasket down, or whatever, the rubber gasket, and then you put the glass lid. And I'll have to find some videos. I would like to try it. So let me know if you think you want to see something like that. I really, really want to try it, but you got to order them from overseas because they're still made in Germany. So anyway, so that's something else to think about. We can try in our endeavors. That's about it. I just wanted to go over some just little fun facts and everything. I believe I said it earlier, but I can never say it enough. Commercially sterile, which means, like the Jolly Green Giant cans that you buy in the store, their pH levels are between 4.3 and 4.5. It is safe, however, to eat food that's 6.5 and under. That's typically what, as home canners, that's what we strive for. I do like to pH test pretty much all of my food that I that I preserve. Just it's not required. I just like to do it. Anyway, so I'm just gonna put a few images of the wet jars on here as well, and you'll notice they'll be different from the other ones because they'll have a glass lid. So, but anyway, that's just a couple facts. Like I said, I wanted to give you guys. So, um, all right. Well, that's about it for now for this video. Um, any questions you have on here that maybe I didn't explain, I apologize. I'm new to this, so if there's something I left out and you're kind of left wondering, put in the comments because I'm going to check. Also on my Facebook page. Um, yeah, so this has been fun and scary at the same time because I'm really out of my comfort zone by being in front of a camera right now. So I look forward to building a community with you guys if you'll have me. Um, we're gonna do a lot of canning coming up. It is 2024 election year. Excuse me. Anyway, so that being said, I got a lot of projects lined up. My next video is gonna be canning chicken and beef, and I'll go through all the steps with you. At this time, I don't remember if I can with the gauge canner or the weight canner, but either way, I'm going to be using both of those. I don't use the gauge canner as much as the weighted canner, so I really need to get to using it more. That way, also, I can get get bigger projects done. So, sorry I'm scratching my eyes. It's Monday, and I'm only on my second cup of coffee. So, anyway, I appreciate you guys. I'm going to throw some images in there in the little timeline here for the video also, so you can kind of see for reference, you know, maybe in the video part you didn't quite get it. I got a picture of the debubbler so it shows the ruler and everything, not the one that I have, but a debubbler, so you can see where to bring the headspace to. It's pretty convenient to have it on the little debubbler. So that being said, I love you guys. I'm so thankful for the support. I am. So look forward to more videos for you. And I'm not getting emotional at all, but I'm very passionate about this, and I can't wait to get more videos out for y'all. And talk to y'all soon. Love you. Bye.